roll call, please.
Freeholder DiNicola.
Here.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Thankfully here.
Freeholder Felice.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson.
Present.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Chairman Mitchell.
Present. Ladies and gentlemen, can we stand in honor of America? Mr. Satley, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman, second. We have a moment of silence or pause for our ambassador who was murdered in Libya.
Chairman, could we also include the almost over 3,000 people that were murdered 11 years ago yesterday? Certainly. Thank you. Before we get onto a very good presentation tonight, I wanted to ask Freeholder Driscoll. He wanted to make a comment to the assembled people here tonight. Thank you, Chairman. Good evening, everyone, and believe me, it's very nice to say that again. As the old saying goes, the reports of my demise are greatly exaggerated. I want to first off thank a lot of people out there that send emails, phone calls, cards, wishing me well when some people learned about my little health problem last month. It meant a lot to me because I feel that I'm doing something good for the people. And when I got those cards, believe me, it made me feel a lot better. I won't get into the specifics of it, but as my daughter says, Grumpy Daddy's back when I told her she couldn't go out to the football game last weekend. In regards to some issues that have been going around since the last Freeholder meeting, I want to set the record straight. I've never lied or BS to anybody in this county, and I'm not going to start in 3 months left in my term. The referendum, I support it. It's an opinion poll, a non-binding referendum. That's it. We weren't bound by anything on it. In regards to the ordinance, I'll reserve judgment on the process and how it was handled, but I will tell you right now, I have a very big problem when nowhere in the ordinance does it say, if it does pass, where do our county police officers go on Thursday morning? Until a plan is crafted, I will have a very big problem supporting that ordinance. And I mean, when a plan is crafted, it's exactly what I said at the consolidation hearings. Mr. Truinsky was here and I asked him to do it. It's a joint plan between the sheriff, the prosecutor, and the chief of police. These are the professionals. These are the men that are your bosses. To the officers in the building, in the building room now, I don't carry a gun. I do not know how many men it takes to man a pod. I do not know how many officers it takes to patrol 17. But those three gentlemen do. And I want to see those three men working together for the betterment of Bergen County to come up with a plan and then present it to us. It's real simple, folks. That's what I've asked for since July. That's what I'm asking for today. And that's what I'll expect before I vote on any ordinance. So that's my statement. And thank you all very much. And thank you, Chairman, for giving me time.
Most definitely. And one other quick statement by the clerk on the ordinance itself.
I'd just like to add that ordinance number 1227, an ordinance dissolving the Bergen County Police Department, has been postponed until the next public meeting, October 3rd.
Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen. As you know, this county does not run unless we have the fine workers of Bergen County working as hard as you have. And it has been the tradition of this Freeholder Board, and this is the 6th time that we're going to be doing that. And we're going to be awarding to an individual tonight for outstanding work on behalf of the taxpayers. We call this the Taxpayer Advocate Award. Let me read a little bit about what myself and my colleagues will be recognizing this individual tonight about. This employee has been employed by the county since March 8, 2008 as an investigator in the law department. His previous work experience includes over 30 years of serving law enforcement, and he comes to the county with a wealth of investigative background. As part of his duties in the Department of Law, our honoree was tasked with the recovery of fees associated with deceased, former, and current residents of Bergen County Health Center, where he determined outstanding health bills owed to the county in excess of $15,000. This amount owed was determined by approximately this amount owed was determined to be approximately $2.8 million, with some of these patient admissions going back as far as 2005. When initially assigned in January 2012, he was instrumental in drafting letters to individuals who were in arrears. Despite having minimal prior collection experience, our honoree was able to utilize his law enforcement background and was able to recover approximately $536,000 within an 8-month period. He continues to follow and pursues other outstanding cases and remains diligent in his collection efforts. His efforts also resulted in further savings to the taxpayers of Bergen County when he was tasked in 2011 with investigating the food management program also at the Rockley Health Center. Upon investigation, he discovered that the food services provided at the center not only provided food for approximately 100 patients a day, but also supplied meals to staff of the facility. It was further determined that the budget for the health care center was in excess of $440,000 per year, with only $200,000 directed to the patients. Once again, through his efforts, the meals provided were reduced and limited to the patients only, resulting in an estimated savings of approximately $287,000 per year. It's quite apparent that our honoree has made a significant contribution to not only the county of Bergen, but also to its citizens and taxpayers, which have resulted to date in savings of $823,000. It's with great pleasure I award Mr. Ernest Yanko the Taxpayer Advocate Award for this quarter. Ernie, could you please come up and join us?
Thank you, Chairman Mitchell and all the freeholders for giving me the ability to work under the direction of Jim Satley, and I'd like to thank the county executive, Kathleen Donovan, for having the faith in me to bring me on board and assign me to details such as this. And it's a pleasure to serve the county a second time as a former Bergen County police officer.
Anybody want to get a picture with you, including some of your family members, if you choose? Not forcing you. Oh, just come on, get up in the car. I'll force you. The more the merrier. Doing all right here? We're always good. One, two, three, four. Thank you. Oh, thank you, John.
It's ridiculous.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get on to, and I'll ask the clerk to read any outstanding reports.
County of Bergen Surrogates Court financial statements with supplementary information for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2011, and report of independent auditor. Minutes, work session, November 22nd, 2011, absent, none. Public meeting, November 22nd, 2011, absent, none. Work session, December 7th, 2011, absent, Vice Chairwoman D. Nicola and Chairman Pro Tempore Mitchell. Public meeting, December 7th, 2011, absent, Vice Chairwoman D. Nicola and Chairman Pro Tempore Mitchell. Public meeting, May 2nd, 2012, absent, none. Work session, June 20th, 2012, absent, none. Public meeting, June 20th, 2012, absent, none. Work session, June 20th, 2012, absent, none. Work session, July 11th, 2012, absent, Chairman Pro Tempore Hermanson. Public meeting, July 11th, 2012, absent, Chairman Pro Tempore Hermanson. Work session, August 1st, 2012, absent, Freeholder Vice Chairman Felice and Freeholder Driscoll. Public meeting, August 1st, 2012, absent, Freeholder Vice Chairman Felice, Chairman Pro Tempore Hermanson, Freeholders D. Nicola and Driscoll. Public meeting, August 10th, 2012, absent, Freeholder Driscoll.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Chairman, with the abstentions, I'm sure of each freeholder from the various meetings they were at,
That is correct.
or not at, sorry.
Could I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, anybody wish to come up and speak, please do. Give me a show of hands. Sir, go ahead. Just state your name and what town you're from, please.
Good evening, freeholders. My name is Serrano Keith Baldio. My mailing address is 201 Rochelle Avenue, Rochelle Park in Bergen County. Keith, Keith, B as in boy, Aldeo, Baldio. Serrano, Sirrano. You're welcome. This is my first meeting with you today. I usually cover Passaic County. I am also the president of the New Jersey Pulse newspaper, and I'm also president of the Christian Heritage U.S. I am not here as a newspaper today. I'm here as president of the Christian Heritage U.S. And what I have is an application to you, if I may. What I just gave you is a proclamation that was authored by me and passed in Passaic County, designating September as Christian Heritage Month. It's not religious, it's mostly on the historical values that Christian has paid into this country. And as you noted today, there are other people from other parts of the world that have strong views about who we are as Christians, and I think we have to remember our Christian heritage in the United States. If we forget that, we forget who we are. I'm just going to read the statement of purpose for this, and there's more to it than that. This proclamation designates the month of September of each year as Christian Heritage Month in the county of Passaic. The proclamation recognizes and honors the diverse contributions and achievement Christian immigrants and their descendants have made to the heritage of our country, state, and nation. It aims to increase public awareness about the roles Christian Americans have played in the development of our country, state, and nation, and promotes the rich heritage and traditions of the Christian people who have shaped the fabric of American society and global heritage. And there's other parts. There's three main things. It encourages peace between Christians and people of all faiths. It also extends a hand of Christian is encouraged in the month of September to extend a hand of goodwill to the poor, the imprisoned, the homeless, the hungry, and all those in need. And it also states that among Christians there are no race, creed, color, national origin, or economic gaps. So I think it's a wonderful resolution. It's the first of its kind in the United States. It identifies who we are historically. And I think in these times we have to remember that. So I'm asking you to pass that for us as well. There's some things in it that cannot be changed because it has to withstand anybody opposing it, and people will say it's religious, but it's really not. It's who we are as Americans, and this is our history. It starts from the founding fathers, and it comes to you, who are our lawmakers here today, that we never forget who we are as Christians. That the people have their recognition in the government already, and I think it's high time that we have ours.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank
for that,
you.
And we'll
And I was-
certainly look at it.
I'll speak to you privately about this further, and hopefully we can get it on the agenda.
All right, thank you
Okay,
very much.
thank you.
And go ahead, Freeholder.
I have no problem with this. I think this is great. The only concern I have is that we don't have another meeting, an actual public meeting in September. So if we're gonna have to do something, we would actually have to move this from the floor
In the
right
work
now
session,
and now,
or in the work-
or the
in the
work
executive
session
work session.
at the next meeting. So it'd have to be considered at that point, and we would have to move it rather quickly.
All right, thank you. And we'll take a close look at it, and Freeholder, do you want to just help us in just looking at the language for us and report back to us? Is that,
It's not a
you
problem.
okay with that? Okay.
And one final note, we do have this whole thing is to recognize the Christians that has contributed to us, and we do have a gala on November 8th with Christian and a few other peoples, and I'll tell you about that further.
All right, thank you
Okay.
very much.
You're welcome.
Thank- This lady right here? Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Linda Reich, R-E-I-K, from Ridgewood. I will read a letter into the public record. It is dated June 20th, 2012, and is addressed to the Bergen County Board of Chosen Freeholders and copied to County Executive Kathleen Donovan. It is signed by some members of the Open Space Trust Fund Advisory Committee, and it is titled Governance of the Bergen County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund. To the Board of Chosen Freeholders, we are writing to express our deep dissatisfaction and concern with several irregularities in the Bergen County Open Space Recreation, Farmland, and Historic Preservation Trust Fund selection process that surfaced over the past year. Fundamentally, we are concerned with the abrupt reallocation by Freeholder John Felice, the Trust Fund Public Advisory Committee's liaison, of large sums of money toward the Saddle River Marker Property Project, a 2010 application. The Trust's Public Advisory Committee, of which we are longstanding members, did all the due diligence required before making our recommendations for this round of funding, carefully reviewing the application packets, participating in field visits to the proposed project sites, witnessing live presentations, questioning the applicants, and vigorously debating the merits of each project among ourselves. The Saddle River Marker Project, a proposal to create an expansive recreational field parking lot in place of a gracious Victorian home and a landscaped yard partially bordering a stream, was particularly contentious. At our final evaluation and voting session for the 2010 round on June 20th, 2011, I repeat, 2011, many advisory committee members objected to recommending funding for the marker project based on concerns that its environmental, open space, and historic preservation impacts seriously outweighed the benefits to the municipality's recreation program. Advisory committee members were advised by Assistant County Counsel John Liberetti that they would need to vote against the entire slate of 2010 recommendations to register their objection to the marker project. 4 members felt strongly enough in opposition to funding the marker project that they indeed did vote down all the proposed funding recommendations. This action was the first in the 12-year history of the trust. Nevertheless, a majority voted in favor of the recommendations, and they passed with the suggestion to provide $755,000 to the Saddle River project. During the roll call, Freeholder liaison John Felice voted in favor of this proposed level of funding. Unfortunately, many months following this vote, in December 2011, Freeholder Felice submitted a request to the advisory committee chairperson to reduce a number of other projects by over $700,000 collectively, so as to direct these funds to the Saddle River project. On several occasions, at meetings and in writing, committee members and members of the public requested an explanation for this successive alterations to the figures that solely benefited the Saddle River project. None of us were ever given a well-reasoned and specific response by the freeholder as to why the marker property should deserve such ample funding. We fully understand that the committee serves in an advisory capacity and honor the role of the freeholder body in setting the final, fair decisions on spending the trust's available funds. However, we object to the lack of respect, mindfulness, and care shown to both the Trust Fund Advisory Committee members and the members of the public who participated in public hearings as a result of the freeholders' avoidance of full disclosure during our committee meeting debates and open public hearings regarding the 2010 applications. Transparency throughout the process, unimpeded and through inquiry, and deliberate discussions are all essential to maintaining public trust in the system. Thus, for future proceedings of the trust, we strongly suggest that, 1, the freeholder liaison to the advisory committee should accurately represent his or her opinions in a timely manner and at the appropriate moment of the internal voting process. 2, it is improper for any committee member, including the freeholder liaison to the trust, to show favor to one individual project without providing a clear rationale for how that bias is in the greater public interest at a county level. Further, if any real or perceived conflict of interest exists, he or she should recuse himself or herself from that project's vote. 3, the trust was established with the goals of protecting, setting aside, and preventing destruction of several different important and sometimes incompatible types of land use: open space, parkland, historic sites and landmarks, farmland, and recreational grounds. Since many, if not all, environmental open space or historic projects are only as visible and valuable as they have been able to garner an advocate that speaks loudly for their preservation, as stewards of the public good, it is important that the advisory committee be aware of aspects of the projects before us that impinge on certain trust fund goals. The advisory committee should try to balance these potentially conflicting values, and if any one of these values is too severely compromised by a proposed project, we should not recommend that project for funding. With all of the above in mind, we urge you to recommit yourselves to the original intent of the trust fund's establishment, thereby ensuring that its operation remains fully impartial, transparent, and ultimately beneficial to the people of Bergen County. Sincerely, Lori Sharkey, Co-Director Bergen Swan, Environmental Conservation Representative; Captain Bill Sheehan, Hackensack Riverkeeper, Environmental Conservation Representative; Suzanne Mathau, Recreation and Park Representative. Thank you.
Very much. Do you have an extra copy that you can...
Give to whom?
Karen?
Chairman?
Yes.
I just have a question. Mr. Reich,
Freeholder?
well, I'll ask, is there anybody here from the advisory committee? I see nobody in the audience. Has the chairman of the advisory committee signed that letter?
Does anybody...
John Fleece, is the chairman of the committee signed that letter about any of those three names?
I don't believe so.
Who is
but-
the chairman of the committee? Or chairwoman, I apologize. So
I'm not
basic-
sure what you're asking.
I'm asking if the chairperson of the Open Space Committee signed the letter you're giving us saying that you vehemently oppose what we did up here.
I was reading this letter into the public record. I
Right.
stated that it was signed by some members of the Open Space Trust Fund
I
Advisory
just heard
Committee.
three names, that's why I'm asking, and I've asked if there was somebody.
When I
any-
started, I said, this is a letter from some members of the Open Space Trust Fund
Okay,
Advisory
some.
Committee
We need to know
to,
names.
and I read the names.
You just said three names, and none of them are members of the trust fund committee, are they?
Yes, they are.
They are?
And
Okay. Are there any
and I
here?
read their
Are
capacity.
there any here? No? Okay. Just want to make sure that we knew if they were here or not, that's all.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Mrs. Wayne?
Susan Winton, Wyckoff, New Jersey. This August, I attended a meeting of the State Committee on Economic Growth. There were two bills mentioned, 2156 and 2157. The first one had to do with foreclosures and abandoned properties in New Jersey. The second had to do with foreclosed property in New Jersey. You drive up and down Route 17. There are businesses, buildings for rent, lots of them. We've lived in Bergen County for 47 years. I've never seen a situation like that. I understand in my own town there are many houses that have been foreclosed upon. I mention this because we are having an economic problem in New Jersey, and in Bergen County. And it would seem to me that this board should do everything in its power to reduce the cost of living in Bergen County. People are leaving. People like myself, who have lived there for many, many years, find they can no longer afford to live there. I was rather pleased when the board put the question of combining the sheriff's department and the county police up for a referendum so that we, the people, could vote on it. I don't know what the logistical problems were, the legal problems were. All I know is that we, the people, have been disenfranchised and no longer are able to voice our opinions. I find that very upsetting. I'm surprised at the board, members of whom have pledged to represent the people, and yet we, the people, were disenfranchised. I'm very disappointed, and I hope that at some point it's done the way so that we can give our opinion. I understand that our opinion really is non-binding. It just gives you a feel of what we think, and it is far better than saying, well, these people said they were for it, those people said they were against it, and most of the people don't talk to anybody anyhow. So I wish that somewhere or other, we the people could get represented on this very important matter. It will save us money, and that's what we have to do, because right now, nobody's in a position where money isn't important to them, or very few people are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Whitten. Chairman? Chairman, Freeholder Tristan? Thank you, Mrs. Whitten. I agree with you. 3 years ago, man right over there and myself ran on the fact of that spending was out of control in Bergen County. So much that my grandmother lives down in Columbus, New Jersey, 3 hours away at 98 years old. And we know what happens at 98, folks. That phone call rings. That man and me, myself, walked in here day one and pledged that we would do for the taxpayers what we promised. And when we got control of this board, and I sat in that chair, and Freehold Chairman Mitchell was on the Budget Committee, this body, with the help of County Executive Donovan, cut spending for the first time in 10 years. We came in with we came in with less than a zero budget. This year, we cut spending for a second time in 25 years. So I agree with you. We do need to do a lot of work. But I'll tell you right now, since I've been on this board, when I was chairman last year and this year, as I've said long times, we're walking the walk up here. We're cutting your taxes. We're cutting spending. So we are doing it. And we're going to continue to do it. As long as people are on this board that want to cut taxes for people. And we are doing it. But we don't want to cut services. You don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face. And that's what needs to be done. And that's the pledge I made 3 years ago when Rob Hermanson stood up with me and we cut our pay by 25%. And we've been doing it for the past 3 years. Trust us. Go talk to our wives. Believe me, they're not too happy about it. $7,000 more could come in handy in the Hermanson and Driscoll households. So we're doing the job, Mrs. Winton. We're trying our best. Young man? Yeah, you.
He's young to you.
I'm surprised you had a
Good
turnaround.
evening, Claude Beanstalk, Fair Lawn. Good evening. Good evening. I want to talk about the consolidation plan of eliminating the county police department and merging it into the sheriff's department. I'm really concerned about any police officers losing their jobs. I'm really pro-police, and we have to remember that we can't cut public safety. I don't know all the technical details. I'm not an engineer or a budget analyst. But before something is done, we have to make sure that police officers' jobs are protected. That's very important. Now, there may be some officers that may be retiring, and they may find they don't have to replace those 4 officers because everything is covered. I understand that. I cannot analyze the problem 100% because I don't know the financial issues. But you cannot compromise public safety. I know you can cut savings, but you have to protect the public concern. If you feel it's the right thing to do, and the police officers agree with it, then go with it. If you feel it's not going to be of service and savings to the taxpayers, then don't do it. The county police perform an important service. If you feel it's better to merge with the sheriff's department, it's okay with me. A referendum, the public doesn't know all the issues, and if they vote one way this way or one way that way, the best people to determine what to do is the freeholders. You were elected by the people. You can make the decision that's in the best interest of the police officers and the public and the sheriff's department and county police. I wish you the best, whatever decision you make. I hope I was helpful to a certain degree.
Of course, Rockland. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak.
The lady in blue, nose lady right here, please.
Maureen McMahon, Harrington Park, New Jersey. It's MCMAHON, right? I know. Yeah, hi. I've been here in a while. Hi, good evening. I just came this evening. I represent Bergen County Healthcare Center up in Rockley, and I wanted to share with the county administrator and the Board of Freeholders that the nursing home was awarded a 5-star award from the from the Department of Health and Senior Services on our recent survey this past May. And that's not an easy achievement. So I think the staff and the county deserve recognition for that achievement. I think we're a little feather in your cap, and I think we give you something to brag about, and we're very proud of that. I also just wanted to share with you that we sort of heard, like through the grapevine kind of thing, that when we were concerned about the nursing home closing, and of course we haven't had any resolution on that as of the state, but of course everyone does come anticipating it will stay open, and we come to do our job every day to the best of our ability. That when you think a facility is closing or a department is closing, people are concerned about their jobs. It would be foolish to say they're not concerned about their jobs. But the staff at the nursing home is a very compassionate group of people. And we're very concerned about our residents. We're concerned about our neighbors. We're concerned about our communities, because we know we give outstanding care. We hear it day after day from everyone that comes in the front door. We hear it from our physicians. We hear it from the state survey. We hear it from our hospice organizations. We hear it from nurses and aides that come from other facilities. Everyone that comes in tells us what terrific care we render. So I want you to know that it's not only about our jobs. Of course it's about jobs, but it's about care, and we care. And we want to do the best we can for the people of Bergen County. So I wanted to share that with you this evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
Please tell the staff congratulations from all of us. Thank you. Lady in gray? I think it's gray, right, Carol? Yep.
Thank you very much, and I must say that I have several things to discuss, but I first and foremost I just want to say that I'm content with the fact that you will take the sheriff, I believe you said, and the county police chief and the prosecutor's office, I believe, to put them down in the room together and talk. And but the only thing is, I guess, and this is one part of what I wanted to say, was that this should have occurred a year ago. And between then and now, we had a lot of politics get in the way. I used to say to my children, don't look to your left, don't look to your right, you look straight ahead. And I think too many of us, include myself, we look to our left, we look to our right, we look to the press to decide, our voters, am I going to get reelected the next time around? And that the interfering police, the lawsuits, the second committee report were, I believe, unnecessary. Because here we are where we should have been over a year ago. Character assassinations are inappropriate and certainly not what I want to see from the people I've worked hard to elect, some of you who sit on this board. So that I would like to know first, where can we send any comments to be included with the discussions that will occur with Sheriff Sordino and Prosecutor Molinelli and Brian Higgins?
I'll just say, I mean, the email addresses of all the freeholders are publicly available. I think there's an email that can come into the administration as well. I think that would be your best.
Because if we circulate,
It's all online.
because I mean, the listening tour at gmail.com is no longer operable, I would assume. But anyway.
I'm the chair of Law and Public Safety. I'll have no problem taking all the emails.
Okay.
Disseminating the emails. I have said before that any plan that has come through here should have come through my desk, and sitting down with the prosecutor, the sheriff, the county executive, and the chief of police to go through here. It's where it should have started, where it should start, and where it should continue to discussions on way to save money, of where we're going to go. I have no problem going through and disseminating the emails and making sure that everybody on this board gets
Including
any
Sheriff
emails that are
Sordino and
sent
Brian
to me.
Higgins and Molinelli. I can't remember his first name, it was John. Okay, so that they will also see them as well too, or will you call them?
No, if you would like me to send them to...
Yes, I would.
that's
Yeah,
not a
I will
problem.
ask that. I will
That's
ask
not an
that,
issue.
you know.
I can put that on there
Yeah.
and make sure that every freeholder sees them, and that every single
Thank you.
person that you would like to have on there gets a hold of it. As the chair of Law and
Thank you.
Public Safety,
You know,
I would think that's the right thing.
Initially, I was for the Freeholder Board making the decision, so that you know, and then as time went on, I thought, no, referendum's the only way that we could go, and so we're back to where we should have been a year ago. And I would hope that this is a lesson for all of us to recognize that the reason why so many of us distrust government or get upset with government is that it is a process that takes far too long. And it is not going to help us move forward in the direction that we want to go. So don't look to your left here, so I'm not coordinated well. Don't look to your left, to your right. Please look straight ahead and consider the tax holders who are behind you and all the various services in the county. And the politics, the press, ignore them. The other thing is, in the listening tour, I asked 2 questions, and I'd like to still have them answered, and some of you took the notes down, was that there had been comment made that the numbers of municipal assistance calls had increased, and I asked for an accounting, town by town, call by call, exactly what those calls were, which towns were seeking them, because in the various town police forces that I know, I asked them, and they said there's been no increase. That could be just those towns. So I'd like to see the town by town increase, and also the reasons for the increase in call. And if that's possible, if I have that right, I'd appreciate that information. And also, which I would share with other police departments that I know. Also, I asked the question about, did the entire membership of the Bergen County Police Chiefs Association vote for the letter that was signed and sent to Freeholder Hermanson in regard to their opposition to the consolidation? So I wanted to know whether or not...
Mr. Chairman, Mrs. Adams, that part you have to go to the Police Chiefs Association.
I
for
will
that
do
reason.
that
Yeah,
then.
we
Thank
don't
you
have
for that.
information yet.
Thank you for that
That'd be your best
information.
place to go, I'd say.
Thank you.
Thank you. The other questions relate to roads and bridges. I heard the disturbing news, I guess it was yesterday, maybe the day before, that 30% of the roads and bridges in New York and New Jersey were in terrible disrepair. I heard an astounding story about the Bergen County Bridge. I don't remember, it sounded so crazy, it didn't seem like it was true just last night. So that the cost of roads and bridges is astronomical. It's huge. So that when we talk about saving money, here's an example of a need that is a safety need. I mean, our roads if they have potholes in them, and you get a landscaping truck hits a pothole and he's forced into the oncoming traffic, that's a safety hazard. If we have a bridge that the Tappan Zee Bridge is another story, but we did have a bridge fall down in a major city in Minnesota. It does happen. So that I think as you look forward to the amounts of expenses, safety-wise, roads and bridges has to be considered as well. And I know that you look for the state. Of course, we are the state. We fund the state. So the monies come from us, and the state is is bankrupt. And so, as I talked to you many times before, is about seeking greater revenue. I've always believed that Bergen County is the richest county in the county of all the counties in New Jersey, and that there's no reason that we should be begging for our safety, begging for our roads and bridges, begging for whatever the case might be. When gross energy tax receipts, and Mayor Casella, and I gave you his article that he wrote, and he said it was something like $888 million saved, and I spoke with Jimmy, who's a friend of mine from high school days, and that amounts over $1 billion statewide. It goes to the state, and people say, oh, the state is so bankrupt. Well, let them reduce some of their expenses, but give us our money back that we're due, not only from, the power lines, it's the railroads, it's Verizon. I mean, the amounts are astronomical. Because Bergen County is the most densely populated, we wouldn't get back 1/21st of the money. We'd probably get back 1/15 or 1/10 of the money because of the density, and perhaps I'm wrong about that, but it's a substantial amount of money to come back to the county, and we need the monies to continue on. So seeking revenue is so important to us. Also, last night, the Wintons had a Tea Party meeting, which was extraordinarily well attended. They brought up, they contacted the governor's office through one of his aides, and they brought up Jerry Scharfenberger, who's doing the state development plan. And once again, we asked him if he would please arrange for a Bergen County meeting, because we are the most densely populated county in New Jersey. The closest state development meeting we've had right now is in Jersey City. I mean, that's tomorrow night or tonight. So we'd like to have a Bergen County meeting held at a facility such as the Bergen Academy or Bergen Community College, so that we could find out the plans that the state has for us, which they say, oh no, you're not going to suffer any penalties, but we don't necessarily believe that. And so there's an opportunity. Some of these state development meetings have been extraordinarily well attended, and I think we deserve the right. So I would ask you, I think you've been asked before as a board, to seek the governor's consent to having a meeting here. There's still time. They said that the meeting dates were over a while ago, and yet they extended them because they hadn't met a certain deadline. So I believe that there's opportunity to do that. And Jerry Scharfenberger said he would go back to the governor and request it. And I think having that additional help from the board would be very, very helpful. And I think meaningful. When I talk to friends of mine talking about a state plan, they said, what state plan? I mean, I think we need to know. I think it'll be good press for John Ensslin to talk about it, the Bergen Record, about it. I haven't seen it.
But we're supposed to ignore him.
Huh?
We're supposed
Ignore
to
him except when he can help us get the state plan here, Okay, thank you very much, Freeholder Nicola. The other thing is regarding the merger or the consolidation or whatever it might be. Once again, I think that Demarest is just totally out of line to suggest that the county police should take over their policing. I think most towns would agree with that. Secondly, as I said to some of the county police I spoke to the last time, I'm one of the greatest defenders of our police forces. I would not be encouraging young people to enter law enforcement unless I wanted them to join and become great law enforcement officers. But I travel in fiscally conservative circles. And I'm one of the greatest defenders in those fiscally conservative circles about policemen and what they do. And I always get the remarks back about their pay and their salary. Once again, we talk about it in very practical terms. And once again, I remind you that I am a policeman's daughter. I've been much involved with the police since I was a little girl, and I will continue to support them. But I just think that it has to be recognized that the taxpayers here in Bergen County are looking for savings anywhere that they can, any way that they can. And some people say, oh, well, Sheriff Sodino is going to get all this power. Well, in most of the country, the sheriff is the only elected office whereby if you don't like what the sheriff's doing, you vote him out. And you at least have some input into what he or she is doing. And I think that Mike Sodino would tell you that I've criticized him on some of the things that come under his auspices, and I would criticize or offer what I would consider to be constructive criticism, no matter their party affiliation, no matter who they are, if I felt that it was to benefit the taxpayers of Bergen County. And in light of the violence that we have occurring in the Mideast, yes, we need to be ever on the alert. But nevertheless, I do think that there are cost savings. Having these three men sit together to really put their wisdom and their hearts into this situation, I believe would be it should have been done a year ago. It's time, and I will pray for its results. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
Caroline, Mr. Chairman,
Yeah,
if
go ahead.
I just want to respond as the Chair of Public Works to set aside maybe some fears that you have, to say that we do have county engineers who maintain an inventory, and actually it's mandatory on the condition of our bridges and our roadways for that matter. And we have been moving forward with reconstruction, renovation, repair. Occasionally, yes, emergency repair, sometimes repair due to flooding. So we are on top of that here. Is it costly? Yes. Do we look for every bit of help we can get? Yes. The Court Street Bridge just reopened. Is that my favorite bridge?
Dinacola Bridge.
No.
Dinacola Bridge. Still say we should.
I heard some strange stories about that last night.
A beautifully well-constructed
Something about silt.
bridge. Yeah, why? Well, I'll tell my John Ensslin story, although I should ignore him apparently. But it is a beautiful bridge, but it was reconstructed as a movable bridge because the Hackensack is considered a navigable waterway, and that was a directive of the Coast Guard. That probably cost us many millions more than it would have had it been constructed as a fixed bridge. And now that it can be opened, you can go maybe 200 feet further upriver to the fixed railroad trestle, which is the next span across the Hackensack River. But it is fixed, and it is open, and it is beautiful, and it was rededicated to Lance Corporal Howard Dillard. So we are happy for that. But I want to make one comment too. I know you were talking about bridges and safety, and yes, they do have to do with public safety. You can close a bridge. You can close a roadway. It would cause some frustration, some detour, some lack of happiness on the part of the public. But you can't stop an emergency from happening. You can't stop crime. You can't. Public safety when it comes to policing is very different when we compare it to public safety in our facilities. Equally as important, but at the same time, we have to stay on top of the police services that we give so we don't change that level of safety that we deliver, as you say, in the most populous county in New Jersey.
Thank you, Freeholder. I appreciate what you just said, and I do know that we tend to address things after the emergency occurs, unfortunately, so foresight is sometimes not our greatest blessing. But nevertheless, I understand about roads closing. Okay, if you want me to cut it out, I'll just say thank you.
I don't want to be rude.
You're not rude. You're never rude, Mr. Freeholder Mitchell.
No, I just want to say, we have
Unlike
other people that would like to speak.
Thank you.
That's all.
I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, Maria?
Hi, Maria Aberasturi, Aberasturi, Teaneck, New Jersey. It was very nice to see some of you at the senior picnic today, and no one has spoken about that yet. And I think that Lorraine Giuano and her people at Senior Services and the people at the Parks Department and Community Transportation and probably all the other county departments deserve a round of applause for a wonderful
And the
picnic.
county police and the
And the county
security
police
who
and
were
the
there
security
also.
department. I mean, it was an amazing picnic, and that's a beautiful park. That's the first time I've been to that part of Overpeck. And I think people complain that costs too much too, but it's really pretty. It's really nice over there. It was nice to celebrate our seniors, and I think everybody did a really good job, and I'm glad that I got to see some of you there. Briefly, one other thing, on mental health board business, September is National Recovery Month, and it is a month where we celebrate recovery from the diseases of mental illness and substance abuse, and we recognize the great amount of effort, consumers and their families and their friends and their communities put into supporting recovery. And that with recovery, we have better communities because we have people who can fully participate in our communities. The Mental Health Board, in recognition of Recovery Month, is sponsoring an event. We're asking that consumers and families send in poems, photographs, drawings, short stories, sculptures, quilts that show what recovery means to them. And my understanding is that these art objects will be displayed downstairs in this building the week of October 7th, which is Mental Health Week. So those can be sent to Mary Rafferty at the Health Department, the Division of Mental Health. And I hope we get as many of those as we had when you guys were having your budget hearing. I hope we have that many things downstairs to display so we can celebrate recovery with all those people. The final thing I had to say goes back to the August meeting, which I attended, and at that meeting I made some comments regarding my concerns about reclassification of the director of the Board of Social Services. And during that meeting, some questions came up, and Freeholder Felice and I had a differing of opinion as to the process of it. But there were some process questions that some of you had, and I did my homework because it was summer and I had a week off. And I have with me, if you're interested, documents that I think will answer those questions. I have the civil service job title, the executive director ad, and meeting minutes and agendas. And I have copies if you would like them.
Hey, you give me the clerk, please.
Wow.
She wants the bag back, though. Don't blame her.
Get a hernia.
Chairman, while Maria's doing that,
Certainly.
Maria,
There's 7 copies.
Okay. Thank you.
wow, you need a hobby. Maria, you need help?
I got it. Yeah. 7 days. And then every other one. So there's
Okay, I'll figure it out. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you, Maria. Maria, on the senior picnic, in the work session, when Lorraine came in the door and Chef Kistner came walking in with his red tan, I did say, I let them know what a fantastic job that we had to that day. It was a great event, and what everybody did, everybody pitched in to help when things get a little frazzled. We even had a director, I think she's from Garfield or Elmwood Park, Christine, we're going to get all the exact names, and Bobby from Maywood, who's always been there to help everybody. I love Bobby. He really pitched in and started getting the meals out to the people. And it was just a beautiful day all around. And everybody all the volunteers and everything, like I said, county police was there, security, parks. I mean, these guys, everybody pitched in.
It was wonderful.
And I have to say, I'm so glad to see the seniors. It was enjoyable. I had my daughter with me today. And we even had her at the table with John Gill helping out, so she earned her lunch.
Okay.
So, but no, it was great.
Yeah,
But we
it
did.
was-
Lorraine and the rest of them got an email from me, and they're going to get we're going to do something nice.
Yeah, they did an extraordinary job, and the seniors were. It's just nice to see people having fun and enjoying, and we don't always get to see that.
And the administration did a fantastic job, and Well, I won't say anymore, but
Okay.
everybody did a great job because they have a plan, so.
Yeah, and you guys were brave enough to cook this year, that too, that was.
This is the first year we did a
Yes,
barbecue. It
so
was a brave venture,
it
and
was
we
a brave
tried.
venture.
And it's something different. We had a new park. We went a different way.
Yes.
And I thought it was great altogether.
Yeah, it
I'm
was
glad we
great.
did a barbecue.
And you earned your Irish tan today.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Sir?
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Antonio Hernandez. I represent the National Coalition of Latino Officers. Coalition of Latino Officers. We have officers in Bergen County as well. I wanted to share a story with you guys and also to read a letter into the record. I grew up in an inner city not too far from here, and when I was younger, around 18, the sheriff and mayor of my town were engaged in political infighting, and the sheriff pulled out his patrol guys out of the city. And that's the danger that you have when you deal with politics and policing. Now I'll go on to my letter. The National Coalition of Latino Officers, Board of Delegates, and Executive Committee vehemently opposed the merger of the Bergen County Police and Bergen County Sheriff Department. As you're aware, Bergen County is a unique county with a dense population and varying demographics, which is greater than and more diverse than many states. The number of municipalities throughout the county, coupled with the relatively small size of various police departments, prevents a very complex situation and not compatible to any other county in the state of New Jersey. It is our belief that the Bergen County Police Chief has a clear vision for the organization, which includes racial equality, diversity, and the preservation of rights of citizens of this county. The agency has an excellent track record at recruiting and promoting minorities. Under the current administration, the chief has maintained an open door policy in working with minority groups to improve the department's relations with the community. The department provides valuable and specialized police services which cannot be easily duplicated. With budgetary cuts and financial constraints becoming more prevalent, it is responsible governing to prepare for the eventuality that many municipalities may be unable to provide police services and to have the county police step in and aid them. The coalition was established to address concerns of many Latino police officers throughout this nation. The NCLO is a national organization comprised of local and state law enforcement organizations which unite together for a strong and decisive voice. In New Jersey, we're the largest Latino law enforcement organization, having members throughout the state, including Bergen County. Our organization's mission is to work with the community and officials at all levels of government to bring fairness and equality to hiring and promotional practices, to be an advocate for a member organization at state and national level, and to assist member organizations in community outreach programs to assist in bridging the gap between the law enforcement and our society. We act as ambassadors between the various civil rights, social service, and community stakeholders and law enforcement. As ambassadors, we have been liaising and meeting with various Latino leaders throughout Bergen County and state of New Jersey, and based on our conversations, I believe that there is overwhelming support for Bergen County Police and to expand the department and its services. Your decision will have long-lasting consequences and may be detrimental to the public safety of almost 1 million residents of the county and the countless visitors and commuters that travel to and through the county. We ask for responsible governing and that you vote no to the merger. Thank you.
May we have a copy
Sure.
of that, please?
You can bring it up here.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much. Okay, all right. Thank you.
Anybody else? How you doing there, Kim?
Good evening. Thank you. Edward Durfee, Northvale, D-U-R-F-E-E. Couple of things, actually. One, I wanted to thank you guys for bringing this to a head finally, because we definitely need to save ourselves some money for our taxpayers. It's not, it's gotten to the point where now we're spending money that we should be saving on trying to do what we should have done. And I don't know, how we stop from doing that. It just seems like every time we try to do anything in Bergen County, we always have to bring our attorneys in, and then we have to spend all this money and doing it. Nothing against attorneys, but the reality of it is like, it's time for us just to get things done and to move forward. Some of the things that I was wondering about, which is really not related, I am in favor of the consolidation. I will say that, and I thank you, Mr. Mitchell, for again, for pushing this forward so that we can get to the point where we are now. There are a lot of other people that perhaps aren't here tonight that are with you on this, and all of us. They're with all of us on this because they want to see us get this done. I was just curious about the, so putting that aside, these supporting documents that are always out here regarding the resolutions and things that you do. I was wondering, is there any chance that we're ever going to see them online so that perhaps we could be looking at them so we could see what's going on, and have valid questions when we come up here, and rather than just looking at, oh, well, we're resolving this, but we have no idea what it is until we get here to look at it, and by that time that happens, it's already done.
Mr. Durfee, it's always been my understanding that the reason that they're, technically there's really not an issue about putting them online, but the fact that they haven't been voted on and they're still working documents is the reason why they are not online at this juncture. However, you've asked this question before. Allow me to research it a little bit more and get back to you. I think everybody on this Freeholder board is open to the idea of trying to get as much information out to the public, make these meetings as productive as possible. Let me just look at it a little further. I promise you a quick answer, and just to see if there's any other reason. I'm not an attorney myself, but I'd like to just study a little further and just see if I'm breaking any rules by recommending this to my my colleagues.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Freeholder?
We've never had any problem. I put the budget online. John and myself pushed for the budget to go online, which was something that had never been there before.
Right.
We pushed the administration to get it done, and it was something that we did, and we believed in open and transparent government. I have no problem in trying to go through and getting this done and seeing if we could put something online. The biggest problem you have is that when you get things 15 minutes before a meeting, whether it's ordinances or resolutions, they're not going to be there. So some of the things that are going on or coming into a meeting, we just had something put on tonight about pay to play. It was just dropped in the middle, on everything, on something as important as the pay to play way that we went through a year here. All of a sudden, here it is. So the public doesn't even know about it. And one of the things that I think does cause a problem with that is that there will be things that are brought up that, as much as you would like to know about it, that at the very end, because it's put in at the last moment, that you might not see it. So it would only be able to do some of the things that you see that gets onto the agenda originally, and things that are changed or adjusted might cause another problem because someone would say that it was taken or off, and why is it there? So I think it would be something that we would have to look at, but I would have no problem going through and trying to figure out a way on this board of trying to make that happen for the taxpayers and for the people here in Bergen County.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to add, we did that for every meeting in Franklin Lakes when I was the mayor, and we got our website up and working. I think it's a great idea. I think it's something we should do.
I appreciate
As I said,
that.
Mr. Durfee, we'll get back to you very quickly.
Yeah, the reason and only because there happens to be something on there tonight for Northvale that you guys are deciding on, which we've been waiting for a long time. And really, I have no idea anymore what it even is that you guys are approving, unless I come here and look at these documents. So that was one of the other purposes.
I promise you a quick response, and hopefully a very positive one.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And keep up the good work. We got to try to stay together.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else?
Motion?
No.
Sir?
Good evening, Richard Rivera, 100 Jersey Avenue, New Brunswick. I chair the Civil Rights, R-I-V-E-R-A. I chair the Civil Rights Protection Project at the Latino Leadership Alliance of New Jersey. And we are going to be issuing a formal position on the consolidation matter. We've been a little slow trying to catch up with statistics and data, because recently we sued the I should say I sued the Bergen County Police Department for police records, and those were voluminous records, and we plan to incorporate some of that data into an informed position to present it. So I'll have something for the Board of Freeholders in writing in the near future. When we first looked at this from an organizational standpoint, and also from a personal standpoint, this is a no-brainer. It's been done all across the state. Sheriff's departments have assumed responsibility for other law enforcement agencies. So what's all the fuss? What's all the hassle? Let's just move on with this and it's a done deal. From an organizational standpoint like ours, we led protests in Garfield where the county police department was involved in a fatal shooting of an individual there. Again, let's move forward. Let's absorb them, let them merge. Let's look at it. Let the county sheriffs take a look at it. But when you really delve into all of the issues and you set aside the politics and the personalities and you look at it from doing it from the right thing, and that's what you have to look at as elected officials, doing the right thing for your constituents. There's a wealth of information to look at. And what I'm going to talk about is a somewhat uncomfortable topic, particularly in Bergen County and other parts of the state as well, because I travel the state, and I'll read from a statement. The Latino Leadership Alliance is the only statewide nonpartisan organization comprised of local, regional, and state organizations, Latino leaders and professionals advocating for the socioeconomic and political development of Latino diverse communities. As chairperson of the Civil Rights Protection Project, it is my responsibility to analyze police interactions with members of the community, offer assistance to individuals concerned about police practices, and advise law enforcement officials about those concerns. And the program has been very successful. We've worked with numerous police agencies across the state in airing particular concerns about police practices. We've done training for police agencies, prosecutors' offices. I was assigned the task of reviewing the potential merger between the Bergen County Police Department and the Sheriff's Department in order to offer our views and a position on the matter. Being a lifelong resident of the state, a graduate of the Bergen County Police Academy, and qualified police practices expert witness, I am thoroughly familiar with the facts and circumstances involved in the potential merger and report back to my executive board and statewide body on this matter. As part of developing an informed opinion, we reached out to county officials and met with several of them. In full view of the studies, public meetings, comments, court filings, and media accounts, we are taking this opportunity to present a perspective that has yet to be discussed in your decision to merge these two law enforcement agencies, a perspective at the core of the work that we are engaged in, which is civil rights. Bergen County will forever be remembered for its contributions in shaping the United States before it was even a republic. Remnants of the colonialism that is still present throughout this county, which boasts the most municipalities in this great state of New Jersey. In the current policing controversy, everything from number of jurisdictions, school districts, municipal police services, other services, duplicates, overlaps were raised as concerns by residents and taxpayers. Our focus in this matter is on the fair and equitable treatment of all people, residents or not, who have a presence in or are passing through Bergen County. While law enforcement mergers with sheriff's departments and other New Jersey counties are suitable and successful, this is simply not the case for Bergen County, and we specifically oppose this type of merger. We do, however, support police consolidation in Bergen County because of the current policing paradigm that exists with little or no accountability. These gaps are present precisely because of home rule autonomy and a conflicting unified law enforcement structure within the state where county prosecutors have general supervision and oversight of local police agencies. Rather than wholesale and consistent oversight of police functions, some prosecutors use discretion in what police activities they choose to get involved. This discretion in Bergen County has led to several law enforcement activities where people of color, specifically Latino, blacks, and Asians, are disproportionately and unfairly targeted in our view, and is statistically supported, and we will support the freeholders with that information. We're planning to release a report by the end of the year also to show what's taking place in this county. That's not to say that it's all the police departments. It does happen in pockets of towns and municipalities across the county. The prosecutor, we have written to him on numerous occasions over the past 4 years. He is unresponsive. When we showed up at his office to discuss this matter, myself and a colleague were arrested back in January. These activities include traffic enforcement, police use of force, search and seizure, and asset forfeitures. Police play a vital role in society, and we support their efforts as they protect and serve all communities in a constitutionally compliant manner. The dissolution of the Bergen County Police Department is a step in the wrong direction for fair and unbiased policing. The urban centers that geographically surround Bergen County and alluded to in the public comments and rhetoric over the past several months, some of which I attended or I watched online, are New York, Patterson, Passaic, Newark, and North Hudson County. These centers are predominantly home to people of color, and the comments were non-supported, xenophobic views which perpetuate misunderstanding, mistrust, and biased policing. Under a new police paradigm, under a new police paradigm in Bergen County, where the county police department or another designated agency assumes responsibility for smaller Bergen jurisdictions, there will be increased diversity, more accountability, and better community outreach in the long term. The current Bergen County Police Department refreshingly reflects the demographics of the county, and the chief of police there has stated he will continue to diversify the agency. In an interview with our staff, Chief Higgins explained the agency has purchased state-of-the-art technology for tracking citizen complaints, use of force incidents, and traffic stop data. These are all positive steps towards fair, unbiased, and transparent policing, particularly in the absence of such on the county level through the prosecutor. Our findings on biased policing practices in Bergen County are to be released. We'd be happy to share these findings with you prior to a public release and to discuss the merits. And I bring this to your attention because as the governing body who's in charge of the budget for the Bergen County prosecutor, you should be deeply concerned about his activities, what type of general oversight and supervision he does provide, and which ones he turns a blind eye to. Currently, I could tell you from experience and from looking at the records from the Bergen County Police Department, there is no plan, there is no monitoring, there is no tracking of police use of force. The internal affairs data is haphazardly collected, and there's no monitoring of that, nor is there racial components being collected. New Jersey is one of a few states in the country that does not mandate legislatively to collect traffic data, despite our history with the state police and that terrible scandal of the 1990s.
Could I just ask you, sir, how much?
This is my last sentence.
Okay, thank you.
And this is all despite the fact that the prosecutor has the ability to do so. He's admitted publicly that he has the technology to do so, but he just hasn't. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can you leave us a copy of that?
Once I formalize the position paper, I'd be happy to send it to you.
That is
Thank
fine
you.
too. Chairman, real quick, could you also shoot an email to the chairman of the county people that you interviewed? You said you interviewed county officials. I know I wasn't interviewed, but if you could furnish us with a list of county officials that you interviewed.
Sure, absolutely.
Matter of fact, here's my card. You can send it directly to me, and I'll make sure it gets out to all the freeholders.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
are there any other questions? Because I'm going to need to take a quick break for our clerk here. No, I am.
There's no other questions? All right, can I have a motion to close public?
Motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're going to take about a 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. Then
Should we ask if anybody else wanted to speak first?
I did. I did.
He did.
No one else?
Nobody else put their hand up. He did.
Looks like a wedding. A cheap wedding.
Favor, motion, okay.
Was it something you said?
No, chairman knows how to clear a room.
We have a motion to accept the following resolutions on the consent agenda.
What's that?
Madam Clerk, can you read the motions for unanimous consent, please?
The resolutions of unanimous consent, 1169, 1171 through 1201, 1205 through 1235, 1237 through 1270, 1272 through 1311, 1313 through 1314, 1316 through 1322.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Resolutions of non-consent. 1170.
So moved.
Second. Any discussion?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
No.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
No.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
1202.
So moved.
Second.
Who moved it?
Discussion? Me and
John,
Felice
please.
myself. Okay. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
No.
Resolution 1203.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
No.
Resolution 1204.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
No.
Resolution 1236.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Abstain?
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Resolution 1271.
So moved.
Actually, I asked to make that motion.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that. I defer.
Thank you. You can second one.
I will second, thank you.
All right, where are we? Discussion?
1271.
1271, discussion? Have we got a first and second? We got a discussion? Any discussion? None?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Abstain?
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Resolution 1312.
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Roll call?
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
No.
Freeholder Gans?
No.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
No.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Resolution 1315. On the wait list. Swap.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Any discussion? No?
Any discussion?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Phil.
Sorry. I had asked that it be on non-consent so that I could speak with the prosecutor in between our work meeting and our regular meeting, because it was one of the items that was just put before us at our meeting this evening. And he did explain to me that a little bit of contrary information, that this is actually recertifying some officers and that they are waiting for a report that will come out, but the report is not done yet, on SWAT throughout the county, cooperative SWAT, and that will be, once it goes through the prosecutor's office, it will be given to Law and Public Safety and to the freeholders. There is a legitimate purpose here, but my only concern is not the training itself. It's similar to what we're talking about in terms of law enforcement overall. I'd like to see a plan, so that if there is a change in restructuring SWAT, or they do need support, or they want to start a SWAT unit in Hackensack, say, that there is more organization to it before we move forward, even though it is forfeited funds. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Chairman, I just want to point out, with respect to forfeited funds, that we look at that with the same concern that we do for any other funds, because there's always another worthy cause or something that it could be applied to with the assistance of the prosecutor or somebody else.
Good point, Fredo.
Chairman.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Yes, speaking on forfeiture funds, it's kind of amazing. Couple of years, everybody starts changing their tunes. I remember my first year how forfeiture funds were used right and left. Freeholder Hermanson, am I correct?
Yeah.
It's amazing. But I do want to thank the prosecutor for giving us forfeiture funds of $7 million to help build the Justice Center across the parking lot, so that we can enable to get the lady across the street a facelift that she's been desperately needing since I was a child, when I rode past there when Main Street was a two-way street. So needless to say, I'm glad we do have the forfeiture funds to be used, and yes, they are taxpayer dollars. I wish a portion of them could go back to the towns where the crimes are committed. That would be great, but just kind of find it ironic. A couple years and tunes change. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. If there's nothing else, we'll take the roll.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
No.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
There were no resolutions pulled. There were no resolutions tabled. Public hearing and adoption of ordinance 1226.
Is that accurate?
That's not accurate.
It's an ordinance.
There was an ordinance.
There's an ordinance, it's not a
tabled.
resolution.
Resolutions, none were
They're one taken two out of their resolution.
That's the
What
difference.
about the,
Non-binding.
no, yeah, the non-binding one, and then the one that had, the ended in 98, that,
That stayed.
That stayed.
okay.
That one stayed. I don't know the answer to the non-binding one.
We'll never get on the actual
Never made the agenda, I think,
Right.
if that's correct.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Proof of publication of ordinance 1226. Notice of public hearing was published in the record on Sunday, August 12th, 2012, and is on file in my office. A copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance 1226 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 40A:2-17 on Friday, August 10th, 2012. Ordinance number 1226, bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,500,000 for various improvements at the Bergen County Community College in and by the County of Bergen, New Jersey, and authorizing the issuance of $1,500,000 bonds or notes of the county.
Motion open the meeting to the public.
So moved. Second.
Any comments from the public? Seeing none?
Motion to close.
Second.
Any discussion by the board?
Chairman?
Yes, please.
Briefly.
Freeholder.
This is basically Chapter 12 funding that we're getting here. This is a match with the state. Last year I did vote against it because, and Freeholder Mitchell did also, for simply the fact of that we were not told 100% what the Chapter 12 funding was, and we found out some discrepancies when we sat down at the Board of Estimates meeting. This year, everything was up to snuff and truth from Dr. Adamas, and I'm very happy that he really did a great job this year for us, and I'm sad to see him go.
Me too.
So, believe me. But we have a new president, and she's going to do great. But this is the Chapter 12 funding. This is for renovation of academic labs, restrooms in the college, and various other repairs that are needed for the crown jewel of Bergen County's education system, in my eyes. And being a graduate of that school, I'm very happy to make the motion for this.
Second.
Additional comment, Chairman?
Certainly.
Just briefly, it's the crown jewel because of what the freeholders do to fund it, and because the teachers there really care about their students. I've said this before, but I want to just remind my colleagues and anybody who might be listening that kids go to Bergen Community College for an average tuition of $2,500 a year. Compare that to $50,000 in the private sector for a private college. Maybe half that amount for a public college, but it's still no contest. Kids transfer from Bergen Community College into every Ivy League school except one. That's Princeton. And as I've told you before, that's because Princeton doesn't take transfer students. But I can tell you, as a parent of a child who has gone to community college and one who has gone a very different and much more expensive route, community college is a wonderful thing that you all should give serious thought to taking advantage of. If your child spends 2 years in community college, the money that you save pays for the 3rd and 4th year tuition when they have their associate's degree and transfer. I'm pleased to vote for this measure, Chairman.
Well, I think we all are. The hearing, the hearing on the ordinance is closed. Let's have a motion to finally
So
pass.
moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Ordinance 1227 was postponed
To a day certain.
to October 3rd.
October
Thank you.
3rd.
Thank you.
All right, we'll get into committee reports.
Wait, I have one more ordinance.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I-
Introduction and first reading, ordinance 1228, elimination of pay-to-play practices in Bergen County.
So moved.
Second.
Well, Chairman, is that the title of this?
That's the
I thought
title.
it was amending.
No, we're eliminating. You got the right word.
I thought it was an amendment, Freeholder
It's a new
Gans.
ordinance.
It's a whole new ordinance.
All in the word,
Appeals
okay.
Because a
I-
lot was
It's a
taken
whole
out.
new one.
Okay.
But remember, we got a 48 minute.
Undid everything we did last year,
No, it
amazing.
didn't. We took out all the...
Any discussion by the board members?
Absolutely.
Title.
You want to go? All right, go for it.
Well, I will just say very briefly, I'm a proponent of pay-to-play restriction and legislation, and I think doing this circumvents the whole purpose of eliminating pay-to-play. That there is a reason why we do it. There's a reason why other agencies, other government entities, other authorities, other commissions, and the state of New Jersey does it. And it's time that we abided by those same restrictions.
We did.
Perception is reality, and we need to get beyond what the perception is in terms of levying public contracts. And remember, this doesn't have to do with everybody. Anyone can donate to any campaign, any individual. The restrictions only are concerned with those who want a public contract. So I know you know where my vote is going to be, and I'm disappointed to see it on the agenda, and on the agenda the way it was placed on the agenda, which was given to us during the work meeting and then voted on tonight. Thank you.
Freeholder Hermanson.
Well, I'll make a statement afterwards, but first I'm going to ask the attorney, because during our work session, one of the things of why this was allowed to be on was that under he asked the Freeholder Gans, who put this forth, of whether he believed there was any substantial changes. My question is, did he believe there were substantial changes? you know, the attorney should have himself read this and taken a look at it to see what the substantial changes were. I didn't ask for Freeholder Gans's interpretation, I asked for his. And as the legal right to the board here, where we're receiving the advice, I went through and checked myself. On page 3 of what we have received now on the first memorandum, as opposed to what is in there, you know, going through here. First one was a complete sentence added on covered party. A covered party shall include, but not way of limitation, the following: any professional or provider of extraordinary unspecifiable service or defined in NJSA 40A: so forth and so on, and labor unions or labor organizations which enter into contracts with the County of Bergen was removed. Labor unions were removed, but it's not a substantial change. But that's news to me. Okay, that's that to me. I mean, I think if the attorney was looking at it, if I was an attorney, I would, look at that as substantial. The next one, where I have in here, was in section 3. Was in section E. E was completely removed, which says, notwithstanding any other provision of law or no freeholder or constitutional officer shall solicit, accept, or receive, and no covered person shall make or cause to be made to any freeholder or constitutional officer any sum in excess of limits set for such office in Ordinance 11-11. Okay? Now, again, I'm going to say that the last one that I think which is most important was that our disclosure form that was given to us before was not given to us on the day when this was sent to us from Freeholder Gans before, but today, miraculously, we have another new disclosure form, which to me would be a substantial change. So I'm going to ask my attorney one more time before on the record, do you believe yourself, not Freeholder Gans, do you believe that these are substantial changes to this from what we were given before, and 48 hours or 15 minutes at my work session again, would be considered substantial or not substantial?
Let me just say this. I didn't review what Freeholder Gans sent you whenever he sent it because I didn't get that submission. I looked at this ordinance today, so I never made a comparison. The question I asked to Freeholder Gans, which I didn't have personal knowledge of, is were there substantial changes from what you submitted to the freeholders in whatever email he sent to you and what's presented this evening? In light of your comments, I'd ask Freeholder Gans to respond to what you've pointed out.
Well, my question is not about as the attorney, knowing that we're supposed to have this 48 hours in advance on any new ordinance put forth to put before this board to vote on, I'm going to ask you again, do you believe with what I just read that these are substantial changes, yes or no?
I don't know that substantial changes is the standard by which we judge the administrative code section. However, I'll say this. I don't believe the changes that you've identified publicly would preclude the vote going forward this evening.
So you believe that not having labor unions in there now is not a substantial change?
I believe labor unions are in there.
They're in there now, Ro.
It was taken out.
No, it was
From
taken
one side from what you sent to me and what you put in there.
No, one I read, it's in.
I'm looking at what I see here on the difference between the two of them, and I'm telling you that one of them is eliminated.
I think have it back.
Or sorry, backwards, vice versa.
Okay, no,
I'm sorry. Okay, vice versa. So one was in, and now it's
in.
Both ways.
Now it's in.
Okay, both ways. So
From
my
what you
point
just read,
is,
it's in now. I don't know what you
okay,
have.
my point is that it was a substantial. That is a substantial change, in my opinion. That's first. Second, and I will again go on the record that we should not be voting on this because this was a substantial change, and I believe my attorney should be telling us that it's a substantial change. And I'm going to be on the record of that too. As for pay to play, where I stand with pay to play is very simple. I believed as the chairman of pay to play, the chairman of the committee for pay to play, that we needed to do something because Bergen County was for sale, and right now under Freeholder Gans, it's about to be for sale again. We are about to open the window to allow everybody again to have everything come through this county, which is what we tried to stop and eliminate in the first place. Unfortunately, we have two people or two parties right now who are upset because they don't believe that they can raise money. This is why we're all here. This is why this is going on. So I'm going to stand before and say this. Regardless of whether this passes or not, I'm going to ask my party to follow the ordinance of what I established the first time and to follow what I had asked to do and that I will stand by that, and I will practice the pay-to-play exactly as it was that went through. I am running this year, and I stood by this ordinance, and I have no problem running on this ordinance of what we passed. And I had no problem passing it, and neither did this board, neither did Freeholder Gans, nor anyone else who sat up here and passed their judgment and passed a positive vote on this. I'm asking them to do the same thing now, because this is the right thing for Bergen County. And I'm asking for that the Democratic board, the Democratic Party, and the Republican Party stand by this until after this election, if that's what they so choose, to try to come through here with this and put this pay-to-play and follow it the way it was. Because I have not worried about pay-to-play on what I stood here. Bergen County is no longer for sale. And I stand, and I'm proud of that. I am proud that we passed that. I'm proud that this is what's gone on. And I'm hoping that the people on this board recognize that this is about, what this is about is to open the floodgates again, to allow money to come through this county, which is what we did not want to see happen. Unfortunately, tonight, justice is not being done yet again. 15 minutes before a meeting, here we are again, and we're going through to put something on here with substantial changes. I'm sorry. This is wrong. It's not right. I stand by what we passed, and I believe that people who stood by and voted on this also should stand by what they passed also until the end of this year.
Thank you, Freeholder. Any other comments? If not, let's have the roll, please.
Freeholder DiNicola.
No?
Freeholder Driscoll.
Abstain.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson.
No.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell.
Yes. All right.
Could you read the vote, please?
Sure. Could you
Sure.
read the vote, please?
Right.
It is 4-2-1.
4 in favor, 2 against, 1 abstention. All right, committee reports, starting with Freeholder Gans.
Thank you, Chairman. I will try and be brief in my committee report this evening.
Thank you.
We recently concluded our listening tour to gauge the opinion of the public on the proposed merger in county law enforcement. I'd like to thank the 6 municipalities that participated: Oakland, Westwood, Northvale, Teaneck, North Arlington, and Paramus. I'd especially like to thank the individuals who showed up at the meetings to share their opinions. I am certain that all of us, no matter what we've expressed on this issue, no matter how we stand, appreciate the fact that citizens spoke to us from their hearts and told us what their opinions are with respect to this. What we heard from people on both sides of the issue was, is there a plan, or where is the plan? And what I think we've done this evening by postponing the vote on the ordinance before us is to make sure that we have the opportunity to have the sheriff, the prosecutor, and the police chief, and hopefully the county executive, participate and come up with a plan which may be something short of merger or consolidation, and could be something that winds up simply saving the taxpayers' money, which I think is a common goal. I want to thank my Freeholder aide, Jared, for an outstanding job in arranging all of the logistics associated with the listening tour. It really was a lot more difficult than you might imagine. It's hard to coordinate with mayors and councils, public meeting rooms, and various other things. But Jared, you did a great job, and I'm personally very appreciative. On a personal note, this is really quite a year for the Gans household. My daughter Elise and her boyfriend of many years, Joey Guff, are engaged now to be married.
Congratulations.
I'm truly delighted about this. They've been a couple for 10 years, and my wife says it's about time.
Maybe you can get 2 weddings in the same place at the same time. And
You know,
2 for 1 deal.
Chairman, it could happen. It could happen.
My father tried it, it didn't work out.
Well, you know, he proposed in Bermuda. It was very romantic, and I'm just delighted for them. And I wish the young couple well. And while they were away, we babysat for their kitty. It was very nice. Okay. Today at the senior picnic, I gave away a bunch of these Bergen Wellness cards, and I have to tell you that the people are scooping them up. They're using them. They're saving money with them. Even Freeholder Hermanson has 2 great examples of people who have saved money using the card. Real life examples. I think you know that one of my cats, Mimosa Rose, was diagnosed diabetic. And came time I had to get insulin for her. Insulin is expensive. The Bergen Wellness Card can be used not only for people, but also for felines, pets. We don't use the pet word in the house. They don't seem to like it. They know who the real bosses in the household are. We're just their staff.
That's right.
Anyway, I took the Bergen Wellness Card to Plymouth Park Pharmacy in Fairlawn, 30% off the price of insulin, which, by the way, that's 30% of $300. $90 savings just for using the card. Now, I'll tell you the other half of the miracle. After Mimi was on insulin for a couple of months, the diabetes, together with a change in diet and the insulin, cured her. And she is no longer diabetic, and I'm no longer using Bergen Wellness to pay for her insulin supplies. The irony in this is I too am diabetic, and I'm now taking insulin, have been for about 6 months. But even though I could have been on her insulin, her prescription is different than mine, and as a result, I have insulin that I am not using, and neither is the cat. So anyway, I wanted to take a minute to talk about open space and what I thought was a very unjustified and unfair attack on Freeholder Felice, who is not only my good friend, but also a former Fairlawn resident. John is fully and completely dedicated to his position as a freeholder and to working on the Open Space Committee. And what the Open Space Committee needs to understand is that they are an advisory committee, but that's as far as it goes. And that as a freeholder, he is free, as are any of us, to adopt the advisory committee's views in whole or in part. And it doesn't mean we don't respect them or the process. It just means that certain side deals that have been made between people on that committee that are not open to the public record, not open to public scrutiny, are being set aside, and something is being done that somebody genuinely believes in and makes the case for it. I applaud you for doing that, John, and I'm very sorry to have seen what I think was just a scurrilous attack on you this evening.
Thank you, Freeholder.
That more or less concludes my report. I did want to take a time for one more second to wish those who celebrate the Jewish New Year, Shana Tova Tikosevu. May you have a happy and sweet New Year. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. Freeholder Nicole.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I want to mention first that school has started. And no matter how old we get, even though we celebrate the new year on December 31st and during New Year's Eve, it still doesn't feel like a new year until
it's later this
school
week.
begins.
Later this week.
Oh,
Different New Year.
Oh, there you go. Or Rosh Hashanah. That's right. So it's nice to start that cycle again, and summer comes to an end. I too participated in the listening tours. In fact, Freeholder Voss and I get the gold stars for going to all 6 of them. And as I said during those tours, I applaud my fellow freeholders for organizing them, Jared for putting them together. It's so important to get out there in the community, to have a dialogue. I do wish that they were listening and learning tours. because this is such an important issue. And unfortunately, there is so much misinformation, disinformation, or incomplete information out there. We have 3 wonderful law enforcement agencies, and you'll see on our agenda this evening, we're moving forward with them. There are a lot of expenditures that we voted on tonight for all of them, the prosecutor's office, the county police, Office of Emergency Management, as well as $3 million in new cameras for the jail. We have to do that. It's incumbent upon us. This is the most important service, public safety, that we provide for our citizens. And I want to mention too, during the public comment period, it was said that, well, we've come back to where we should have been. The decision is back with the freeholders. It didn't come lightly back to the freeholders, though. It came at a cost. And it was a cost due to politics, a cost because we ended up in court, a cost because there are attorneys involved. We need to work together as a board. What we have to keep central in all the decisions that we make is the taxpayer. We heard it time and time again this evening. If we can deliver public safety more efficiently, more cost effectively, then we do need to find those ways. It is incumbent upon us, but it's not going to happen through the process that we've used so far. So I do implore my colleagues that we move forward together and not in the same way that we have been. I'd like to mention one very important event that is coming up at the end of the month. It's the Access for All Summit that the Division of Disability Services will be giving up at the Bergen County Law and Public Safety Institute. Freeholder Driscoll will be there as well as the chairman of the Department of Human Services. This, hopefully, is the first of many. A template where we can address important issues in regard to one of the fastest growing segments of our population, and that's residents with disabilities. We're going to have members of our Office of Emergency Management, Detective Gidget Petrie, Lieutenant Dwayne Rossetti, as well as Dawn Apgar, the Deputy Commissioner of the New Jersey Division of Developmental Disabilities, and of course Jim Thieberry will be leading the program. Jim is our incredible head of the Division of Disability Services. I'm sorry, Freeholder?
Oh, you're forgetting Deputy Mayor Cosgrove is going to make an appearance also.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Cosgrove, he is going to be there.
He's
from
everywhere
Fairlawn,
lately.
And he is going to address some of the issues in regard to actually volunteer fire services and connecting with this segment of our community. We'll have Paul Aronson, the mayor of Ridgewood, as well. We're going to try to encourage municipalities who do not have Access for All committees to develop them. And that is a part of the resolution that we passed this evening in commemorating September as Disabilities Awareness Month. So I do hope to see representatives from all 70 municipalities throughout our county, and hopefully we'll all be learning together. It will be short and sweet. Breakfast will be served and will continue as timely topics come before us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes. Good evening. First, let me just say that, a number of different things that we've all attended, and, so I'm going to try to go through as quickly as possible as just some of the highlights of some of the things that we were at. I attended the Rutherford Street Fair, which is just a wonderful gathering, and watching people come from all over New Jersey and other states too to come in and basically go down and for Labor Day weekend. To me, it's a crazy time to go in there and see how many people get in there and looking out for all different kinds of treasures and hidden treasures that are out there for sale. And to see the amount of people who are out there sharing and getting together, it was great. I also attended the St. Joseph's Festival in Lodi for the San Giuseppe Feast, which is also another wonderful time. I know that Freeholder Driscoll was down there for his Zeppelis, so
John Gill heard.
It was great. It's always a good time. I enjoy being in Lodi for that festival, and it's great. Also, though, that this week we have all attended. Most of us attended the 9/11 ceremonies at Overpeck, and also at the county building here for 9/11 for our fallen brothers and sisters for that day. The lieutenant governor was up, and it was a wonderful ceremony that was held. I want to thank the county executive, along with the administration and for everyone who put it on. It really was a very sincere and warm ceremony, and it's something that we should never forget. Never forget what happened. Never forget the people, and never forget those families. I go through and hear those names, and there's a lot of people that we did know in there from Bergen County, across the county, not to mention just there, but also to some of our friends. I also attended Mawa's 9/11 ceremony in Saddle Rivers, along with Councilwoman Mastriano, and on that day. And again, that was another very nice celebration for the kids, and just have the kids not to forget and learn what it's all about. I also want to wish the condolences to the family and friends of Ambassador Stevens, who was killed this morning as our consulate in Libya. Again, something so simple here of what we have of freedom of speech, and even freedom of the press, or however you want to put it, as a movie, a simple movie that was displayed, was taken, and someone's life was taken in another country because of what they don't have and what we have here in this country. I attended the county picnic today. I want to thank Public Works, our senior services, again, the county executive, everybody who was there, and everyone who made that day, especially Ron Kistner, who goes above and beyond. To me, I think the park looked great. The people commented on how wonderful the facility was, and we had tremendous weather. I don't know who ordered that, but by the look on John Gill's face over there, I think he was wishing it was a little cloudier. I also want to reach out and just let people know again about something else that's going on in this county, and what wonderful people we have that work here. 201 Magazine had an article in there about our homeless shelter director, Julia Orlando. And Julia, again, was talking about what she had done, what they had done, and what she's doing at the county. And at the same time, there was also basically a study put out by Washington, D.C., where the 7 areas of the country, the 7 best areas of the country to end chronic homelessness. And Bergen County, with our homeless shelter, was ranked number 1. We came in with the highest percentage of people who had come through the homeless shelter this year, and who have been received constant residency in a new place on their own. It was almost 18%. And when you take a look at when they are looking at ending chronic homelessness, the goal for them is just under 5%. We were at almost 18%, the highest in the country. And I want to thank her for what she does. I want to thank the people over there at the homeless shelter for reaching out for the people who are in the most need and doing the right thing for the people here in Bergen County. Also, school has opened, and I will also say that, as Freeholder Nicole was talking about, it never gets old for me standing there the first day of school with my kids getting on a bus. Never. My daughter this year was the first time that she went to school for a full day, and there's nothing like seeing the joy in her face with a little backpack and the lunch boxes of all the kids going in there and reeling about how excited they were about getting into school the first day. It usually takes about 3 weeks when they don't want to get on the bus anymore, but it's great to see the kids and what they're doing, and I want to, like I said, it's a great time of year for that. As for the listening tour, I'm going to go just very quick about this. That's exactly what it was a listening tour, and I'm very sorry about that, because it should have been a question and answer. We should be able to be in a situation where they hear from us of what we know. I got to tell you, I heard here again tonight, I heard in a work session that, we're going to listen now and wait for the sheriff to come up with a plan. Why are we asking the sheriff to come up with a plan? This is not the sheriff's job. You elected this freeholder board to make these decisions for you. And you should not have to put the onus on the sheriff. It only puts the sheriff in a very difficult spot, knowing that you have two departments who are out there who are working very well together along with the prosecutors. Now you've actually put them into a place where you're saying to the sheriff that he's got to come up with something, and by doing so, he's going to put himself at odds with another department. Why? The freeholders here, you elected us to make hard decisions. You didn't elect us to postpone votes. You didn't elect us to go through things and put things in the past, to put things forward or whatever. You elected us to come up with ideas of ways of saving you money, which we've done. I think we've done that very well over the last 2 years, is what Freeholder Driscoll has alluded to at the beginning of this meeting. And I believe that we have the right way of working together, that there should be a plan in place, but if that's where it comes, it should come from all of us on this board, working together through me as the chair of Law and Public Safety, through the county executive, and everybody sitting down to find savings. And if that's the way we do it, it should be done that way, not this way. This is being ramrodded down people's throats, and it's not. That's why there's so much animosity over this issue, with so many different workers here and so many different things that are going on. That being said, I think that the idea of the listening tour was a great concept, but a horrible idea, because all we really did was listen to people who were going to tell you one side or the other side, and you're not hearing what the freeholders had to say, of what our thoughts are, or how we were going to get something accomplished. And I think that it should be more of a question and answer, and we should do anything like this going forward, should be more open back and forth between us, so that you learn what we know. And what we did know was that there was no plan. And the people told us there was no plan. And they keep asking us, where is the plan? Who has the plan? What are we going to do about the plan? Where is the savings? How are we going to save? How is it going to happen? What does dissolve mean as opposed to consolidate? And this is where we're all at. Therefore, I look at this and I say, postponing it to the 3rd is only postponing the inevitable, again, of going through this process one more time. And the bottom line is, you know what? We should all have the backbone on this board. That's what you elected us for, to make the hard decisions.
Chairman,
and do the right thing.
There's no need for Freeholder to insult us up here.
I'm not insulting.
Yes, you did, Rob.
No,
yes, you did, Freeholder.
A vote is up or down.
No, you don't say I don't have a backbone, Freeholder Hermanson. I'm not going to
say whatever
tolerate
you
it.
want.
Oh, believe me, I'm going to, because you're not going to say I ain't got a backbone, fella.
I'm looking forward to it.
Chairman, you're the one who should be admonishing him, not me.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm just asking him to finish his remarks.
Yeah,
as for
tell you what,
as for the
he
last,
can finish, I'll be outside. I'm not going to sit there and be insulted. And if you guys all want to sit here and listen to that, go right ahead.
As for the resolution, there's a couple of resolutions that I would just wanted to take a look at. I just want to make note that there's a number of great resolutions that are on here. The resolution honoring the life of Neil Armstrong, our Olympians, and right now on National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Also, we have Hispanic Heritage Month, the feast Rosh Hashanah for our people who in Bergen County who are celebrating the New Year, Jewish New Year, and remembrance of 9/11, prostate cancer. These are wonderful things that are all in the body of the whole from the freeholders. And I want to just reach out to everybody and say that these are good things for us. And as that concludes my report. And if I offended Freeholder Driscoll, all I can say is, you know what?
Thank you very much,
They
Freeholder.
can answer on his own.
Freeholder Boss.
Thank you, Chairman. I really enjoyed going to the 6 towns that we visited on the listening tour. And I want to thank Jared, because he made a concerted effort to make sure that the towns really represented the whole of Bergen County. And I know that at one time I was a little offended because somebody said, oh, you only pick Democratic towns. Well, the thing is that the mayor of some of the towns may have been Democrats, but a lot of the councils were Republicans, so I think we had a pretty bipartisan group. Also, I don't like people telling other people what I think. I will tell people what I think, and so other people don't need to, think they can read my mind. One of the things about the listening tour was very, very good. In some of the towns, we had a large audience of people representing the police. In other towns, we had a lot of citizens who were very interested in having a merger because they thought it would save tax money and things of that sort. It was very informative. The thing I was a little disappointed in was that the judge turned down the referendum. I thought that would be very good because it was non-binding. We could get a sense of what the people, and between now and November, I thought we could disseminate a lot of information so that people could make an informed decision. But I think that it was very important for the freeholders to be out in the town and listen to the people. And I think we should do more of it in the future because I think that's really a good way to take the pulse of the people. The Court Street Bridge was opened and it was named for a young man who lost his life in the Vietnam War. And it was a very, very moving ceremony. And I have to agree with Freeholder Nicola because that bridge would have been much, much, much more reasonable in terms of its cost had we not had to conform to, I believe, a federal law about the bridge being able to open. And it's never going to happen, but we have to conform to law on all different levels. Many of the towns have ceremonies honoring their fallen police officers. And we had a very, very nice ceremony in Fort Lee last Saturday, and many people from around the state came because we unfortunately lost 2 police officers in the line of duty. One back in 1966, I can remember it like it was yesterday because it happened right near the school that I was teaching. And William Birch, who died in 1966, is honored. We have named a park after him. And unfortunately, in 1999, another officer lost his life in the line of duty. His name was Kevin Greener. The 911 ceremony in the county, I was a little taken aback because, well, one of the things in the newspaper was that many, many towns were having 911 ceremonies, and now it's the 11th anniversary. And every year I have been at the Bergen County Memorial, and huge crowds used to come. And this year it was very, very sparsely attended, which bothered me a lot because we must remember that this happened and it can happen again. The highlight of that was there was a group that I really thought was wonderful. They were called the Blue Chip Chorus, and they sang patriotic songs that were just, it made you proud to be an American, and I would love to have them, perform at many, because I think we need to get patriotism and the juices flowing in people because we take too much in this country for granted. Cliffside Park did an unbelievable 911 ceremony, bigger than the one in the county, and huge number of people came out and they dedicated a gazebo to the memory of the 3,000 that lost their lives. And we have to keep not only 911 alive, but we have to remember Memorial Day and Veterans Day and all of the patriotic holidays and be so grateful that we live in this country. Today at the picnic at Overpeck, one of the nice things, we had so many people there, it was absolutely magnificent, and the bridges are open, and so now you have access to Overpeck Park from Fort Lee Road or from Challenger Boulevard, and the bridges, I drove over them today, and it's really such a beautiful sight, and that park is absolutely magnificent, so if you have never been there, please make a concerted effort to get there, because it's really easy to get to now. Many of the towns have senior picnics, and I think it's really important that we give as much as we can to the seniors who have given so much to us. And I know Fort Lee will have a huge picnic on October 7th, and we usually get about 1,000 people. So, and I know that other towns do this. And in Fort Lee, we have a very large Veterans of Foreign War post. It's going to be celebrating its 80th anniversary. And there's a gentleman by the name of James Viola, who is now the commander of this post, who has done so much in getting funds for monuments to the Vietnam War, the Korean War, World War II, World War I. And if you ever come to Fort Lee, you have to pass the corner of Main Street and Center Avenue, and you will see the most magnificent display of which I say, giving accolades to our veterans. And we're going to be having a lot of young men and women come back from Afghanistan and Iraq, and they're going to need our support. So I think it's really important that we give them all of the assistance and the recognition that we can. I also want to wish everyone who celebrates the Jewish New Year, Lashana Tova. And as a history teacher, I have to tell you that the year is going to be 5772. And so anyway, Happy New Year to all. Thanks.
Freeholder, thank you very much. Freeholder, Vice Chairman, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A lot has been said over the last few months about the consolidation of the county police, not to consolidate, lawsuits, referendums. A lot has been spoken about pay to play, not pay to play, the budget, about so many aspects of this government that we represent. And when it's all said and done, we have to vote. And we're not going to agree. And the majority of members of this board will vote one way, and some others will vote another way. And whether it's social services, where some people don't agree with what I'm doing, or Chairman Mitchell, or the members of that board, or open space, or pay to play, ultimately we have to vote. And ultimately, the words that we share with our colleagues in the public are great, but ultimately we have to vote, and that vote then constitutes law. It could be challenged by the courts. It could be overturned by the courts. It could be upheld by the courts. Ultimately, I'm doing the best I can to represent my views and my aspects of what I believe is right. I could be wrong, but I'm one member of 7, and we're one branch of government to the county executive and the judicial branch. So I can only do my part as I see fit, and that's what I'm trying to do. And I respect each of the colleagues there with their passionate views about what they think is right. And I'll never discredit them for their points of view, but rather celebrate the diversity and the respect. After the vote is cast, we shake hands, we move on to our next part of our lives, our families, our jobs, our faith. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Freeholder Driscoll. Thank you, Chairman. Some people don't get their way, they lash out. What can I tell you? Oh well, it's the way they operate. They have for a long time. But what can I tell you? I'm the same way. That's why we're 2 pig-headed Irishmen. And that's why I'll still always like Rob, because he's pig-headed like me. I know he's smiling and laughing over there right now, and the skin is thick. First off, senior picnic. I said my thanks to everybody, and I continue to say thank you to everybody. It was a great day. I also want to welcome our new college president, Dr. Walter, and wish her well up at the college. I'm sure she will continue the fine tradition the Berg community has pushed out graduates and moved students on. Something Freeholder Gans said before I want to correct. And it's not too often that I get to correct Freeholder Gans, so I jump on it when I get the opportunity. They're not just children up there. There are seniors up there. When I went there, I was 26 or 7 or somewhere around there. A lot of people go back to school at night. Some people even go there to do government studies. So I have to say, it's when you sit in a classroom, you could be 18 years old and sitting next to a 70-year-old gentleman. And believe me, the lessons you learn from that 70-year-old gentleman sitting next to you taking a class, whatever it may be, far outweighs anything a professor could ever say to you. And while we're on the professors, the staff, the professors, and everybody up that college 2 years ago froze their pay. Froze their pay to make their budget work. And every day I thank those people up at that college for freezing their pay to make the budget work to save fellow workers. I'm not going to talk about consolidation. I think we've heard enough about it, really. What I am going to talk about is it's September and everybody says about a new year. And I had the pleasure of being in Fair Lawn last night and hearing Deputy Mayor Trowinski doing double duty. Talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. School's back in session, folks. Kids are back in school. Not everybody takes a bus. Some kids walk. Slow down. If you get to work 5 minutes late, tell your boss Freeholder Driscoll asked you to slow down so you wouldn't hit any kids. But while you're on it, more importantly, it's not just in the morning. It's in the afternoon. Some kids get home from school after football practice when it's dark. But also, let's not forget the moms, the dads, the grandparents, the aunts, the uncles, and everybody else that walks these children home to school, walk to school. They're walking back home at around 9 o'clock. Slow down, they're still out there too. It takes an extra 5 minutes. Believe me, you'll feel a lot better about yourself. I also want to wish Shana Tova, Happy New Year, to my mother-in-law, my wife, my children, and my wife's entire family, and everybody out there who celebrates the Jewish holiday. As you see, we come from a mixed religion marriage in the Driscoll household. We celebrate all holidays. I enjoy them. It's great. 9/11 ceremonies. Last year when I sat in that center chair, I said something that took me 10 years to talk about, and that's the family members I lost in that building. New York City firefighter Garvey went into that building looking for his cousin. He was a second cousin of mine. Met him a couple times in my life, and it was my own fault. I didn't get to know him a lot better. He went in there looking for his first cousin, she being 8 months pregnant, in that building. Neither one of them made it out. My grandmother told us this after they had the funeral because she didn't want to expose the whole family to all of that. And she went representing her late husband and all of us to a funeral in New York City for our cousin. And not a day goes by that I don't think about it. And believe me, yesterday at the ceremonies, I was thinking about him. And the fact that I never really got to know him. Also want to get well wishes to Hasbrook Heights Mayor Rose Heck, who went through a little surgery. I saw her last night. She's feisty as ever, and she's back out and about, but she's getting healthier. It takes time. So she's out there, and I have sent her all our well wishes. And I'm going to close with one thing. When we sit up here, we argue, we yell at each other. When we go out in the streets and we argue with people, I'm going to read you something here. Firefighters at Hook and Ladder Company Number 1 lived by a code. They would do anything for Doug because Doug would do anything for them. Doug Jansen became a volunteer fighter 40 years ago. He died at the age of 58. When he was 18, he wanted to serve the people of Little Ferry. This is where it gets tough, folks. Doug Jansen, who was married to his wife Catherine for 31 years, had his only child, Ashley Jansen, 23. Doug's coaxed Ashley to go to her baby shower that day. And after the party got going, Doug went home. And everybody in the party told him, no, 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 stay. And what happened? Doug went to his neighbor to help cut down a tree. Always helping other people. And he fell out of that tree 25 feet and lost his life. As his daughter Ashley was opening her second present, she found out her father died. Doug's services are going to be, they were today, and they're going to be tomorrow at Costa Funeral Home in Hasbrook Heights from 2 to 4 and 7 to 9. And his Mass is going to be at 9:30 a.m. on Friday morning at St. Margaret of Katona Roman Catholic Church in Little Ferry. And he's going to be buried in George Washington Cemetery, a cemetery I'm very familiar with. That's where my mother is buried. So we sit here, we start screaming at each other, and we start getting into each other's faces. Stop and think about the Jansen family and what the heck they're going through. That's a baby who's never going to get to know her grandfather. That's a daughter who's going to remember every time she thinks about her baby shower, she's going to remember that was the day her father died. Little Ferry's going to remember that they don't have Doug around to always be there. Doug Jansen, I knew. Coming from Little Ferry, we were a close-knit community. At the end of the day, he was a volunteer. No compensation. He gave from his time. So we start pointing fingers on how much everybody makes and everything. Think about our volunteers around Bergen County, our first responders, the ones that run into your house when your house is flaming on fire, and they come out with your baby on the other end. And all they do is want to thank you, and maybe a cup of coffee at the end of the day. It says a lot about Bergen County. That's why I love living here. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you very much for that, Freeholder. Mr. Chwinsky.
Speaking of volunteers, there are 53 musically inclined law enforcement volunteers who on September 22nd will be celebrating their 20th anniversary. There's a very nice story about them in the Northern Valley Suburbanite. It's the Police Pipes and Drums of Bergen County, and it will be at the Bergen PAC. In addition to themselves as the hosting band, the New York City Police Department Emerald Society Pipe and Drum Band, the Pipes and Drums of the Blue and Gold and the New Jersey State Police, the Bergen County Firefighters Pipes and Drums, the Pipes and Drums of the Emerald Society of the Chicago Police Department, the Pipes and Drums of the Cleveland Police, and the Boston Police Gaelic Column of Pipes and Drums, the Pipes and Drums of the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and a band of rogues will all be participating. I always thought I knew virtually everything that was going on in the county. I had to find out about this by reading an online story in the Northern Valley Suburbanite. So I share it with the people of Bergen County. I intend to go with my wife to this event, and I'm sure that there are other people out there who will be there. If you like bagpipes and pipes and drums, and it's also a way to say thank you to the Police Pipes and Drums of Bergen County. They are law enforcement officers who volunteer their time from throughout the county to do this. I just, on a somber note, just want to say that the administration always stood ready, and Freeholder Driscoll knows it firsthand because he asked me several times, to work together with the Law Enforcement Committee of the Freeholder Board in effectuating savings, and frankly, not just savings related to consolidation on police, but other consolidation. We've worked with your, and other mergers and other types of savings for the taxpayers in Bergen County. I'm not going to repeat the numbers that you indicated, but they are all accurate. We've also reduced the amount of borrowing in the county and cut it in half, what had been the regular borrowing. That's not what it was before the change in this Freeholder Board on January 1st, 2011. On a personal note, I want to express the same dismay and shock that Freeholder Felice had to endure in tonight's meeting. I share Freeholder Gans's comments. David and I, it's no secret, are both from Fairlawn. We know the Felice family for a long, long time. We know it from the time when your dad was mayor in Fairlawn. Whatever else the Felice family is or is not, they are dedicated public servants. And to somehow suggest that John Felice, being Nick Felice's son, would somehow do something improper is incomprehensible to me, and not something that John Felice should ever have to endure. 99.9% of the time, and it was Freeholder Gans who told me this, the Freeholder Board supports the views of the Open Space Committee, the recommendations of the Open Space Committee. Freeholder Gans also told me that I believe it was 6 or 7 years ago, he persuaded the Freeholder Board to not agree with one particular issue. I believe every freeholder has that right, and if they feel strong about it, they have that obligation. I applaud John Felice for not being a rubber stamp on this. I applaud Freeholder Gans at that time for not being a rubber stamp on it, but for bringing your own judgment to bear. The advisory board is just that, advisory. It's the freeholders who make the decisions when it comes to dispersing those funds under the Open Space Trust Fund that the voters of this county approved, and I hope that that never changes. And finally, I too wish Shana Tova to all who celebrate a Happy New Year. I did not know, Joan, that it was 5772, so thank you for pointing it out to us.
Thank you,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Thank you, County Administrator. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will have a brief report as well. With my fellow freeholders, I visited the Zabriskie Shedler House in Ridgewood. The historic home dates back to the early 1800s, is caught up in a discussion of what its final disposition should be. I was encouraged that the residents, my fellow freeholders and town officials, seemed eager to come to an amicable solution to preserve this Ridgewood treasure.
While we Americans always celebrate our independence and the freedoms we enjoy, it was great to join the Indian Americans for their 65th Independence Day celebration, as well as the Korean Americans celebrating their 65 years of liberty. I've attended a variety of meetings involving the Board of Social Services, including issues such as fraud and abuse, labor contract negotiations, and a review of the annual audit. On behalf of the Freeholders, I attended the inauguration program for Mark Park, the new president of the New Jersey chapter of the Overseas Korean Traders Association. And again, on behalf of the Freeholders, I congratulated Mr. Park and commended outgoing president, and I'm going to butcher this one, Hyo Sam-byun, for his excellent leadership during the past year. For the Freeholders, I attended a 9/11 event today held at Fairleigh Dickinson University. And Freeholder Hermanson's going to get a little envious about this, and we honored George Martin, co-captain of the Super Bowl 21 champion New York Giants, 1986, who formed a Journey for 9/11 Foundation at the completion of his cross-county trip. We recognized him for keeping the memory of the heroes from 9/11 alive. Mr. Martin believes that the care of our 9/11 first responders is a national problem and an American responsibility. Government funding, insurance policies, and his Zadroga Act may not adequately cover the substantial costs for the care of these people in desperate need. As Americans, we must do more. Mr. Martin stated further that we cannot turn our backs on those who answered the call and now suffer with serious medical conditions. He is appealing to the public to join him for his family-friendly 7-mile or 2.5-mile Giant Steps for 9/11 walk on September 23rd. The start location is in Fort Lee for the 7-mile walk, which begins at 10 a.m. For the less adventurous walkers, a shorter 2.5-mile walk will start approximately at noon. Also recognized was Will Gimeno, who was a Port Authority police officer on 9/11. He was one of the last survivors pulled from the rubble of the World Trade Center. He was given a voice to those like him who ran towards the danger but did not come home. As a nation, we must always remember the tragic events that occurred on 9/11/2001. Over 3,000 lives were needlessly lost, and those events changed this great country forever. As a current reminder, and my Freeholder colleagues have brought it up, as a current reminder, ladies and gentlemen, our ambassador to Libya, J. Christopher Stevens, and 3 of his colleagues were brutally murdered on yesterday's anniversary of 9/11. Let's all be sure to keep the victims of 9/11 in our prayers and our thoughts, and these latest victims who lost their lives simply because of their belief in American values. And finally, Happy New Year to many of my friends in the Jewish community, and I have many. How many years was it again?
57, but I might be
57.
David was at the
first celebration. And that concludes my remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for coming out
Motion
tonight.
to close.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.